The day started like any other. People across the world went about their usual routines, going to work, going to school, and having coffee with friends. But that morning, everything changed in an instant. Earth's defense systems went off the rails. Sirens blared across major cities. Alarm signals flashed on every screen. A massive warning blared through the communication networks: unidentified spacecraft detected. Immediate threat level, critical. Panic swept across the globe. Was this a drill? Was it a mistake? But no one had time to answer those questions because the truth was far worse than anyone could imagine. Out in space, a fleet of alien warships, cloaked from view by their advanced technology, moved toward Earth at incredible speeds. For years, they had been watching us from the shadows, observing our every move, gathering data about Earth's defenses. They had decided, humanity was nothing more than a primitive, insignificant species. We were nothing but an easy target. Zeroth, the commander of the alien fleet, sat in the heart of his flagship, observing Earth from the massive windows of his warship. A creature of terrifying intellect and cold-hearted resolve, Zeroth was a seasoned commander who had seen countless civilizations fall before him. As he scanned the Earth through his fleet's advanced monitoring system, he couldn't help but scoff. "They're nothing but a primitive species," Zeroth muttered to himself. "Their technology is laughable. It will be too easy to wipe them off the map." Zeroth had underestimated humanity's spirit for survival, but his confidence in the alien fleet was unshakable. The warships in his command were equipped with cutting-edge technology, cloaking devices that made them invisible to human radar, and AI-controlled systems that could anticipate and react to any defense efforts before they even began. In their eyes, Earth was just another world to conquer, another pitiful civilization to add to their collection. He turned to his second-in-command, a calculating alien named Verith. "Initiate the attack. Show these Earthlings what true power looks like." As the order was given, the massive fleet emerged from its cloak, its ship suddenly visible to Earth's defense systems. The first ship, towering over the rest, unleashed a barrage of energy blasts. Within moments, the Earth's sky was lit up with violent explosions. The first wave of destruction hit major cities worldwide: New York, Paris, Tokyo, and Moscow. High-tech AI-controlled warships targeted landmarks and military bases, obliterating them in seconds. Buildings crumbled. The cities burned. On Earth, panic spread like wildfire. Military leaders scrambled to respond. Command centers lit up with frantic activity as the first wave of destruction hit. Every nation on Earth tried to fight back, but there was no coordination. The alien ships were too fast. Too powerful. Their weapons easily overwhelmed Earth's defenses, and the planet's military was not prepared for the scale of the assault. Fighters took off from Earth's bases, but they were no match for the technologically superior alien warships. As fighter jets tried to close the gap, the alien ships shot them down one by one. In Washington, President Julia Carter stood before her generals in the emergency war room, her face pale but determined. "We need to fight back. What do we have? What can we use against them?" One of the generals, General Harrison, shook his head, his voice grim. "We don't have anything that can stop them, ma'am. These ships are too powerful. Their cloaking technology, we can't even see them before they strike." "Then we need to find something, anything, that can turn the tide," President Carter replied, her eyes narrowing with resolve. But it was clear, Earth had been caught off guard, and their forces were being crushed by the relentless alien assault. Zeroth, watching the destruction unfold on his fleet's monitoring screens, couldn't help but laugh. "They thought they could stop us." Zeroth sneered. "These weaklings couldn't even see us coming." As the alien fleet continued its attack, Earth's greatest cities burned, and millions of lives were lost. Yet, amid the chaos, a small glimmer of hope began to shine. Deep within Earth's military complex, a team of scientists had been working on a project, something that might just turn the tide. But as the destruction mounted, it was unclear whether they would be able to deploy their new weapon in time. Back on Earth's surface, survivors ran for shelter, trying to escape the unimaginable horrors. Some cities were already leveled, while others were in the process of being destroyed. People watched in terror as alien warships fired upon their cities from the skies, their powerful energy blasts causing massive shockwaves that flattened buildings and left nothing but smoldering ruins behind. The alien fleet's attack was methodical, precise. Each target was carefully selected for maximum impact, and the civilians below had no chance to react in time. It was the perfect invasion, or so it seemed. But Earth's survival instinct was stronger than the aliens had anticipated. As the first wave of destruction tore through the planet, a new kind of resistance began to take form. Groups of soldiers, scientists, and civilians started to organize, rallying around the hope that somehow, Earth's military might find a way to strike back. The aliens, confident in their victory, underestimated the one thing that they could not predict: humanity's will to fight. And while the rest of the world looked on in horror as the skies darkened with alien warships, deep within Earth's defenses, a secret weapon was about to be unleashed, a weapon the aliens had no idea even existed. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and the fate of the planet rested in the hands of those few who had the courage to stand up against an enemy that thought they had already won. Would humanity survive this alien onslaught? Or would Xerotha's confidence prove to be their undoing? The story was just starting, and the world was watching. The first chapter of Earth's resistance was being written, but it was far from over. The alien invasion raged on, leaving devastation in its wake. Entire cities were flattened by the relentless assault from the cloaked warships, and Earth's military struggled to keep up. But somewhere, deep beneath the chaos and destruction, a small but determined group of humans were working in secret, developing a weapon that could change the course of the war. Captain Lucas Grayson was one of the key figures in this hidden effort. A brilliant military officer, Lucas had been chosen for his expertise in weapons development. He had been working with a team of scientists, engineers, and strategists to create something that could take down the alien threat once and for all. The project was kept under wraps, known only to a select few. No one on Earth, not even the highest-ranking generals or world leaders, knew of the weapon's existence. It was Earth's last, best hope. As the alien fleet continued to advance, destroying everything in its path, Lucas and his team were finishing their work. The weapon they had created was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It was known only by one name: the dark matter bomb. Dark matter, the mysterious substance that made up a large part of the universe but could not be seen or directly detected, held unimaginable potential. In the hands of Earth's top scientists, it had been harnessed in a way that defied the laws of physics. The bombs were designed to bend the very fabric of spacetime, creating a singularity that would unleash a devastating explosion. When detonated, the bombs had the potential to obliterate entire fleets in the blink of an eye. Lucas stood before the massive launch control panel, watching the countdown. His heart raced as he thought about the implications of what they were about to do. Could humanity survive this? Could they win? The weight of it all felt heavy on his shoulders. He glanced at the other members of his team. They too were silent, their faces tense, aware that what they were about to unleash could either save Earth or doom them all. "This is it," Lucas muttered to himself. "We either win, or we die trying." The first dark matter bomb was locked into its launch system, and the countdown continued. Meanwhile, above the planet, the battle between the alien fleet and Earth's remaining defense forces was reaching a fever pitch. The alien ships, still cloaked and seemingly invincible, were continuing their onslaught. Fighter jets scrambled in vain, and Earth's remaining warships were being torn apart by the superior firepower of the alien forces. But then, a message came through on Earth's military network, cutting through the chaos. "Captain Grayson, you are clear to launch," the voice on the other end of the line said. Lucas looked at the control panel and pressed the button. The launch sequence began. He held his breath, watching as the first dark matter bomb was sent into space. It accelerated with blinding speed toward the heart of the alien fleet. As the bomb neared its target, the alien ships in its path took no notice, their cloaking devices rendering them invisible to any conventional human sensors. But the dark matter bomb was unlike any weapon the aliens had ever encountered. It was designed to pierce through the fabric of space itself. The moment it detonated, a massive wave of energy rippled out across space. The shockwave was like nothing the aliens had ever felt. It was as if the very fabric of spacetime had been torn open. The explosion that followed was so powerful that it shattered the cloaking shields of the alien ships, revealing their massive warships in full view. The first ship to be hit was torn apart instantly. The dark matter bomb's explosion was so intense that it created a ripple effect, a massive burst of energy that sent shockwaves through space. Alien ships all around the blast zone began to disintegrate, their advanced armor and energy shields no match for the destructive power of the bomb. Entire fleets were obliterated in seconds, their pieces scattered across the void of space. Zeroth, the leader of the alien fleet, watched in shock as his warships crumbled before his eyes. His mind raced, trying to comprehend what he was witnessing. This wasn't supposed to happen. The humans were supposed to be weak, defenseless. Their technology should have been no match for the might of the alien fleet. And yet here they were, unleashing a weapon capable of tearing apart entire fleets with a single blow. The shockwave of the explosion spread out, rippling through space like an invisible tsunami. The remaining alien ships that were caught in its path were thrown off course, their systems failing under the immense pressure. Their cloaking devices flickered and shut down, rendering them visible to Earth's remaining forces. Zeroth's once unshakable confidence began to crack. He stared at the readings on his control panel in disbelief. "This can't be possible," he whispered. "How could they have created such a weapon? This changes everything." The dark matter bomb had delivered a devastating blow, and the aliens were reeling from the consequences. Their warships, once unstoppable, were now vulnerable. They had underestimated humanity's ability to fight back, and this was only the beginning. Back on Earth, Lucas watched the devastation unfold on his screen. The bomb had done its job. No, it had done more than that. It had altered the entire course of the battle. For the first time since the invasion began, the humans had the upper hand. But Lucas knew that this victory, however significant, was just the beginning. The aliens wouldn't stop until they had completely destroyed Earth. The dark matter bomb was a powerful weapon, but it was still one weapon against an entire fleet. Earth would need more than just this to win. "We've made a dent," Lucas said to his team, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "But this is far from over. Get ready, we've got more bombs, and we're going to need every one of them." As the countdown began for the next dark matter bomb, the fate of Earth hung in the balance. The battle for survival had only just begun, and the aliens would soon realize that humanity's hidden power had only just been revealed. The invasion was far from over, but now, Earth had a fighting chance. The battle was far from over. Although the dark matter bomb had inflicted heavy damage on the alien fleet, the invaders were far from defeated. In the darkness of space, the remaining ships of the alien forces struggled to regain their footing. Zeroth, the leader of the alien invasion, was a being known for his cold, calculating nature. But even he could not have anticipated the sheer scale of destruction unleashed by humanity's new weapon. His fleet had been crippled in a matter of moments. Now, with Earth's military showing no signs of surrendering, Zeroth had no choice but to order a retreat. "Gather reinforcements," he commanded harshly, his voice trembling with a rare frustration. "We cannot let them defeat us. Prepare the backup fleets, more ships, more weapons. We will crush them." The alien ships that had survived the explosion of the dark matter bomb quickly regrouped. As they retreated into deep space, they prepared for reinforcements to arrive. Yet, the longer they remained in the vacuum of space, the more they began to realize something unsettling, something they had not expected. Humanity had managed to create a weapon capable of defeating their most advanced ships in a single blow. It wasn't just the bomb, Earth's forces had been holding their own against the invaders. As more ships arrived from Earth's military bases, the aliens' once dominant position began to erode. The dark matter bomb wasn't the only secret weapon Earth had developed. With it came other advanced technologies, advanced EMP pulses, cloaking systems, and powerful energy weapons that disrupted the very energy fields the aliens relied on. As the reinforcements arrived, the aliens began to realize that their superior technology, which had once seemed invincible, was now failing them. The shields they relied on to protect their warships flickered and failed. The energy systems powering their fleets began to short-circuit, leaving entire ships vulnerable to attack. How is this possible? Zeroth seethed, looking at the blinking systems on his command console. They should not be able to match us. Their weapons should not be able to defeat ours. The alien fleet tried to adapt, but it was too late. Earth's forces, guided by their secretive advancements, continued to strike with precision. Each new attack left the aliens weaker, their once impenetrable defenses crumbling under the assault. The humans had turned the tide. The alien invaders, who had once believed they were untouchable, were now facing a fight for their very survival. In the midst of the battle, Captain Lucas Grayson sat at his command station, his face illuminated only by the soft glow of the control panels. He was silent, deep in thought. The sound of explosions and the hum of spacecraft filled the air, but Lucas was focused on the gravity of the situation. The dark matter bomb had worked. It had been everything they had hoped for. Yet, even with the victory, Lucas felt a pang of doubt. Was it enough? Would humanity truly win this war, or had they only delayed the inevitable? He leaned back in his chair, staring out at the vastness of space. His mind wandered back to the long years of development, the countless hours spent working on the weapon in secrecy, and the many sacrifices made by those around him. It had taken years of research, and far too many lives had been lost. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers had poured their hearts into this project. They had all known the stakes, and they had all understood the price that might need to be paid. For Lucas, the faces of his fallen comrades haunted him. Bonner, his closest friend and fellow officer, had given his life during an earlier battle. They had been through so much together, long hours in the lab, testing prototypes, working through every setback. Bonner's death had hit Lucas hard, but it had also strengthened his resolve. The weapon they had developed had not just been for the survival of Earth, it was for everyone who had sacrificed their lives to make it possible. Lucas's thoughts drifted to the many soldiers who had been lost in the early stages of the alien assault. Faces of those who had fought bravely and given everything for the cause now flashed before him. He could feel their presence in the air, their spirits urging him forward. Their sacrifices could not be in vain. He glanced at the countdown clock on the screen. The dark matter bomb was ready for deployment again. His team was prepared to launch it once more, to keep pushing back the alien invaders. But even as he stared at the countdown, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that this was only a temporary victory. The aliens might have been caught off guard, but they were resourceful, and they would not give up easily. "Hang on, Bonner," Lucas whispered under his breath. "We're not done yet." But there was something else, something that gave him hope. The more he saw Earth's forces rallying, the more he realized that humanity had changed. They were no longer just fighting for survival, they were fighting for their home, for their future. The first dark matter bomb had been a warning shot, but it was also a symbol of humanity's resilience. As the alien forces continued to retreat, struggling to adapt to humanity's unexpected strength, Lucas's thoughts turned to the people he had sworn to protect. The people who believed in him, in his team, in their world. He thought about his family, his friends, and the citizens of Earth who were watching this conflict unfold, waiting for a victory that seemed impossible only a short time ago. Earth was not just defending itself now. Humanity was proving that it would fight, no matter the odds. The dark matter bombs weren't just weapons, they were the embodiment of humanity's unyielding spirit. And for the first time since the invasion began, Lucas began to believe that maybe, just maybe, they had a chance to win this fight after all. The next phase of the battle was about to begin. Lucas knew that this war would demand more from them than they could imagine. But if there was one thing humanity had shown over the centuries, it was that they would never give up. And so, the final phase of the battle loomed on the horizon, as the alien forces regrouped, and Earth prepared to unleash its final arsenal of dark matter bombs, hoping to end the invasion once and for all. The stakes had never been higher. The aliens would soon discover that their struggle had only just begun. And for Earth, this was only the beginning of their fight for survival. Despite the devastating losses, the alien fleet was far from broken. Their leader, Zareth, had not come this far to fail. His species, the invaders who had once believed themselves to be invincible, were now facing the unexpected power of humanity. Yet, even in the face of Earth's new weapons, Zareth was determined to strike back, harder, faster, and with everything he had left. With his fleet in retreat, Zareth realized that his only chance to secure victory was to deliver a blow so devastating that Earth would have no choice but to surrender. He gathered his most elite forces, preparing them for a final assault on Earth's most vulnerable targets. Earth's cities, which had once been bustling metropolises of life, now stood as symbols of humanity's resilience. But they would be his targets, and Zareth was prepared to use every weapon at his disposal. He issued the command to launch an all-out assault. Alien warships armed with the most advanced energy weapons in the galaxy surged forward, breaking through Earth's remaining defense lines. These weapons were capable of razing entire cities in moments. Advanced lasers, plasma blasts, and orbital bombardments rained down from the sky. Each attack was calculated to shatter the morale of humanity and break their will to fight. The people of Earth watched in horror as their cities were obliterated. In the chaos, the streets became filled with panic, and the skies were streaked with the fiery trails of falling debris. Humanity's darkest hour had arrived, and it seemed as though nothing could save them. The aliens had unleashed hell on Earth. But just as it seemed like all hope was lost, the human military command had one final, desperate plan. The dark matter bombs were not only a weapon of mass destruction. In the hands of Earth's scientists and military leaders, they had discovered another, more remarkable function. The bombs were capable of manipulating not just spacetime, but the very environment itself. They could alter gravitational fields, shift planetary energy sources, and even create destructive anomalies that could turn the tide of battle in a way no alien force could predict. Captain Lucas Grayson stood at the helm of Earth's last line of defense. His mind raced as the reports of massive destruction came in. Cities had fallen, millions had perished, and the remaining human forces were spread thin across the globe, fighting tooth and nail to keep the aliens at bay. Yet, despite it all, Lucas knew that humanity's final hope rested on the next move. "We're launching them," Lucas muttered to his team, his voice a mixture of determination and uncertainty. "The dark matter bombs are our last chance. It's time to turn the tables." The plan was risky. It relied on precision, coordination, and, most of all, luck. If the dark matter bombs were deployed correctly, they would not just destroy the alien fleet, they would destabilize their entire operation, sending shockwaves through their command structure. But if they failed, the consequences would be catastrophic. The command centers of Earth's military forces were busy as teams scrambled to prepare for the launch. The dark matter bombs had already been positioned aboard specially designed spacecraft, waiting for the signal. As the alien bombardment continued, a silence fell over the room. All eyes were on the screens, tracking the movements of both Earth's forces and the alien invaders. "Launch the bomb," Lucas ordered, his heart pounding in his chest. The dark matter bomb streaked through space, its dark energy trailing behind it like a comet. It was a brilliant streak against the blackness of space, headed straight for the heart of the alien fleet's command center. Zareth watched from his command ship, still confident that his forces were invincible. His victory seemed inevitable, until the bomb appeared on his radar. "What is that?" Zareth shouted, his eyes widening with disbelief. "What is that human weapon?" Before he could issue any further commands, the dark matter bomb hit its target. The resulting explosion was unlike anything the alien forces had ever witnessed. The bomb detonated in the heart of the alien fleet's command center, sending out an enormous shockwave of energy that rippled through the space around it. The power of the explosion shattered the alien fleet's shields, sending shockwaves across the entire galaxy. Alien ships, including their most elite reinforcements, were obliterated in an instant. The shockwave expanded, destabilizing their control systems, rendering their remaining forces inoperable. Zareth's fleet was torn apart in an instant. What had been a powerful, coordinated attack became a chaotic mess of destroyed ships and burning wreckage. The alien forces, once the dominant force in the galaxy, were left scattered and disorganized. A sense of panic spread through the remaining ships as they tried desperately to regroup. But it was too late. Zareth was frozen in disbelief, staring at the wreckage that had once been his fleet. He couldn't fathom how this could have happened. Their advanced technology, their superior weaponry, none of it had been enough to stop Earth's unexpected counterattack. Humanity had not just held its ground, they had struck back with a force that even the aliens could not comprehend. In the wake of the destruction, Zareth's ship was all but crippled. His crew members scrambled to try to repair the damage, but the systems were failing faster than they could respond. The once proud invaders, who had believed themselves to be invincible, now found themselves at the mercy of humanity's ingenuity. On Earth, the humans watched in awe as the shockwave from the dark matter bomb reverberated through space. The immediate effects were clear, the alien forces were in disarray, unable to regroup or continue their assault. But there was no time to celebrate. Lucas Grayson knew that the battle was far from over. The aliens might be wounded, but they were still dangerous. And humanity's victory was far from certain. "We've bought ourselves some time," Lucas said, his voice grim. "But we need to push forward, this isn't over." "Not yet." Across Earth, the surviving human forces rallied. Soldiers, scientists, engineers, all of them now knew that they had a fighting chance. The dark matter bomb had shown them the way forward, but it was not the end of the war. The aliens would come again, and humanity needed to be ready. As the final remnants of the alien fleet retreated into deep space, the human forces turned their focus inward, preparing for the next stage of the fight. They had survived the alien onslaught, but now they had to finish the war once and for all. And if there was one thing humanity had proven throughout the centuries, it was that they would fight, no matter the odds. The countdown had begun. The final chapter of the war was yet to be written, the final battle had come. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Zareth, the alien leader who had once laughed at humanity's primitive technology, now stood at the helm of his fleet, watching as the human forces pressed forward. Despite the overwhelming destruction of his fleet, Zareth was not yet ready to give up. He knew that Earth's new weapons were powerful, but the alien empire was vast, and he was determined to strike back with everything he had left. In his desperation, Zareth initiated a catastrophic counterstrike, a last-ditch effort to wipe out humanity once and for all. His most powerful weapon, a Doomsday-class energy cannon, was aimed directly at Earth. If fired, it would tear through the planet's defenses and obliterate any hope for survival. It was an act of madness, driven by pride and the belief that no one, not even humanity, could stand in the way of his fleet. But what Zareth didn't know was that the humans were ready. Captain Lucas Grayson, the man who had led the fight from the beginning, stood in the command center of Earth's final defense fleet. His eyes were fixed on the alien fleet, and his mind raced through countless strategies. He knew that this was it, the last chance to stop Zareth and his forces. "We can't let him fire that weapon," Captain Grayson muttered, determination in his voice. "Prepare the final strike, launch everything we've got." The remaining dark matter bombs were humanity's last line of defense. They had been carefully stored, waiting for this moment. The bombs had already proven their power, but now they would be used in a desperate gamble, a final, all-out attack designed to turn the tide of battle. With the alien doomsday cannon charging for its deadly shot, the human forces moved into position. The remaining fleet of human warships, equipped with the power of dark matter technology, descended toward the alien ships with lightning speed. As the final countdown for Zaratha's weapon began, the human forces launched a full-scale offensive. The dark matter bombs streaked through space, their dark energy leaving glowing trails in the void. They targeted the heart of the alien fleet's command center and weapon systems, intent on stopping the counterstrike before it could even begin. The bomb's effect was instantaneous. As the energy from the dark matter bombs collided with Zaratha's weaponry, the core of the alien fleet's weapon systems began to warp. Space itself seemed to distort, and the mighty cannon that had been on the verge of firing disintegrated into nothingness. In an instant, Zaratha's last hope for victory had been destroyed. The power of dark matter had shifted the very fabric of reality, rendering his greatest weapon useless. But Captain Grayson wasn't finished yet. Now, he ordered, as the final set of dark matter bombs was launched straight at the alien fleet. The remaining bombs detonated in the heart of the enemy forces, causing explosions so massive that they could be seen from Earth's surface. Each blast sent shockwaves through the alien ships, collapsing their shields and causing catastrophic failures in their systems. One by one, the alien warships were torn apart, their crews helpless to stop the destruction. The once mighty fleet of Zarath, the invincible conquerors, were now nothing more than a burning field of debris. Their advanced technology had crumbled in the face of Earth's relentless will to survive. The alien invasion had been stopped. Humanity had won. As the explosions from the dark matter bombs faded into the vastness of space, the human forces on Earth and in space could scarcely believe it. They had done it. The impossible had become reality. The alien fleet, which had threatened to bring about humanity's extinction, was no more. Captain Lucas Grayson stood at the helm of his ship, staring out at the now empty void of space. His mind raced through the events that had led to this moment, the countless hours of preparation, the sacrifices, and the battles fought. The faces of the soldiers who had given their lives flashed before him, and for a moment, he allowed himself to feel the weight of their loss. "We did it," he whispered to himself, his voice barely audible over the hum of the ship's systems. "We saved Earth." But the victory came with a heavy price. While the alien threat had been eradicated, the war had left scars on Earth. Cities lay in ruins, millions of lives were lost, and humanity was forever changed. The survivors would have to rebuild, to heal, but they now stood united, stronger than they had ever been before. The once vulnerable humans were now a force to be reckoned with in the eyes of the galaxy. As the remnants of Zaratha's fleet retreated into deep space, beaten and broken, the camera pulled back to reveal Earth in the distance, scarred but standing strong. Humanity had proven to the universe that it was not to be underestimated. The voiceover echoed through the silence of space. They thought Earth's firepower was a myth. Now, the galaxy knows. Never underestimate humanity. The last image was of Captain Grayson, standing on the bridge of his ship, looking out toward the stars. He had led humanity through its darkest hour, and now, he could see the dawn of a new era. The battle was over, but the war for Earth's future was just beginning. With that, the screen faded to black, leaving the audience with the undeniable feeling that humanity, against all odds, had emerged victorious. And in the quiet aftermath, one thing was clear: the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again.